in the Land Rover, the old 1968 Series 2A, and I'm going out to what I call the Partsbin, which is where there are a lot of cars and even more parts for a lot of different cars. It is where I have stored pretty much every engine that I have spare, and suspensions, wheels, everything else. And well, the road out there is so bad that you can't use a car unless it's tall and has four-wheel drive, thereby a Land Rover. So yeah, I'll get this camera flipped around now and you can have a look yourself. So, as you can clearly see and hear, the road is not that good. Here we have an older Land Rover, door and rear box, the frame, floor out of a 65 Fairlane, the roof for a Land Rover, Moskowitz front end, a Volkswagen Beetle parts, and there is a lot of, well, there's a firewall for a Land Rover too actually, and some springs and stuff for random cars. Looking over here, well, you can see some sheds over here. At least the one that's fallen down right here, that one has wheels in it and axles and front suspensions. You can probably see that right there. It's shimmering through. That is the front window of a 63 Ford Falcon. And let's just pop this Land Rover into first again. There is a 61 Falcon. 63, right? 66 four-door front end for that 65 Fairlane. There's another 66 Falcon. There's a 61 Falcon with a 63 behind it, and a 66 Fairlane up on that trailer. Front end for a 63 Comet, and wheels and doors and front suspensions and everything. So let's get this thing shut down. Because the reason we are out here today is my brother's Taunus. It's in the last video. I said something wrong in that video because I said that a 1.6 and a 2-liter Pinto are the same engine. Exactly, except from, well, the bore. Turns out there's another difference. The 2-liter block is about an inch taller in deck height. So when we went to put the timing belt on from the 1.6 over to the 2-liter, because that timing belt is brand new, it didn't fit. And the 2-liter timing belt didn't, well, get tight on the tensioner on the 1.6. Which led me to like look at the back of it, and I was like, well, 2-liter has about this much from the mounting area for the transmission to the head. And I turned to the back of the 1.6 and it was this much. So there's an inch difference, and there are some 2-liters laying out here where I can most likely find myself not a timing belt, but a camshaft, because the things we wanted to swap over onto those on that 2-liter from the 1.6 was the timing belt, tensioner, and the oil stem valve seals. Oil stem, valve stem oil seals. And we pulled the valve cover off, and pretty quickly realized that the cam in the 2-liter was worn all the way down. Well, not all the way, but it had seriously gnarly looking lobes. Those were not good. So I decided to go out here and look for a 2-liter that has a usable cam in it still, so I can pull the cam out. And well, you can quite obviously see that I've brought all the tools I need on the seat next to me. Knife to cut the timing belt, 10mm socket, and a puller and a 17mm wrench, because that is definitely needed to cut the knife is needed to cut the timing belt, and the 17 and the puller is for the cam gear. Now walking here, just away from where I parked the car, you can see Audi 1.8 engine, 2.8 Ford V6, and a 2-liter, as well as Fairlane roof, Cortina doors, Cortina seats, and stuff like that. But I'm gonna have to get this 2-liter flipped over and have a look at that cam and hope it's in good nick. It is a 2-liter, yes. Because we have 2 liters, 1.3s, and 1600s out here, so I'm gonna have to make sure that I actually nab one off of a 2-liter to get the cam right. So I just flipped this 2-liter up and it's covered in ants. So I'm gonna give those a little while to clear out, and in the meantime, I'll show you a little guided tour. Like I've said earlier, this is the 66 Ford Falcon 4-door Futura. Parts car is really rusted out, you can see that down there. And, well, I mean, it doesn't have a window, it snows here, so it gets covered in snow every year. 63, that has 61 rear doors, and gutted, nothing in it. It's just, well, I think it traded it for a car once. This and a 302 for a Ford Scorpio. And, well, it's been sitting here ever since. Nothing really usable on it. The hood, you can see, is rusted out there and over there, and when you try to lift it, it just bends and buckles. So that is pretty much just a shell, some usable parts, but you know, it's a 4-door, so it's not that sought after. Of course, like I said, 61 sitting in here. This is an 80s custom thing. It's blue and gold metal flake. You can see it's got a lot of flake in it. And leopard print shag pile on the interior. Well, what's left of the interior is that one door panel. Seats that were in it 20 some odd years ago when it was parked here and pulled apart. It was meant to be restored to factory, which luckily never happened, because this is a lot more awesome. 2-liter Pinto oil pan with baffles and a turbo drain. And this is my stash of broken 318 Dodge parts. Well, not parts, heads. I'm not sure where to go with all these. I'm thinking this set, the blue set, has one completely knackered valve on cylinder 1, so it's either one of these or one of these. One of these or one of these. And this set is, God, I can't remember. This set is a set of heads off of a Magnum engine, and those, I think I warped those. No, one of them has a crack in it. That's what happened to those. Those I warped. Those are the stock heads that were on the Aspen when I bought it. Of course, Falcon parts. And yes, I know how this building looks. It's gonna fall down. I've torn the wood off of the wall here to have a look at it because it was bulging out. And this is falling apart, literally. It gets worse every year. And of course that means this car has to come out. And yes, it's a 4-door. It had the rust welded on it about 20 years ago. It's been sitting here ever since, and nothing's happened. Yeah. Instruction manuals. Granada. Cortina. Yeah. And emblems of all sorts. See a diesel Mercedes emblem, Ford steering wheel emblem, Ford emblems, Mini, Mazda 616, Volvo 544, Ford tractors, Austin, Toyota Crown. Yeah, it's a lot of different emblems in there. So that's from cars that have been scrapped. Yeah, that's what's in here. We have engines sitting pretty much everywhere. There's a Pinto over there too, actually. That one right there, that's a Pinto. Might be a 2-liter, so I can look at that cam if the one I found isn't good. Like I said, Land Rover, Fairlane Land Rover, Beetle, Moscovich, and stuff like that. More 65 Fairlane. This 66 Falcon. Now, this is like the red one that's on this channel from way before. There are 4 of these cars in Norway. 2-door Falcon Futuras. There are 4 of them, and 3 of them are right here. This is one. We have a black one that we bought this one for a parts car for, because you can see it's missing its rear quarter on that side, as well as both doors and a lot of that. But the black one was hit by a truck and, well, T-boned, bent that in completely. And this one was for sale. Well, I don't know if it was for sale. We just asked if anyone had one for sale, because we knew there were 2 more. So we got this one. This one had a 289 and a 4-speed top loader, but it had been stripped and ready for, well, rust repair, because there is a lot of bad rust repair on this, on the front clip. So if this is ever going to be usable again, it needs all that reworked. But I mean, this is just going to be a parts car for the ones we have. And, well, I followed a lot of parts with this thing. Of course, wheels, suspensions, doors, and a lot of stuff in that one. There's doors, hoods, trunk lids, everything. That shed is full of parts. That is the 61, like the one that's sitting inside. Just a parts car. Not really many parts left to be used off of it. I mean, the grill's buggered. Hood's pretty bad. Front fenders are bad. That trim is good. Windscreen's good. Roof is bad. Doors are not good. Well, not great. They're still usable, but not great. Some parts inside of it, it's not really anything to use. 63, you know the white 63 has been on this channel. The rear fender on that is bent in because I crashed it. And we had this one, so we cut the rear fender off of this one to put on it. So this is just, at this point, this is just a body parts car. 66 Fairlane. 4-door yet again. Was started being built to be a track car of some sort. I don't know if it was a dirt track or whatever it was, but it had been stripped. It had the trunk floor cut out of it. I think we sold the fenders off of it. No, they're not. It's up there, actually. You can see the block plate that's been put on ahead of the front, in front of the headlights. And it had all the glass removed, apart from the rear window that's still in there. Yeah. It was pretty much a gutted one, because they've cut the dash out of it. They just tried to make a track car, but never got that far. Then they sold it. It ended up here. We robbed the entire suspension off of it to have on one of the 66 Falcons. Put it on this old tractor trailer, and here it's been sitting for the past 10 years. Sold a few parts off of it. Tail lights, door, and a few other things. Trunk lid. Yeah, and left it sitting here. That is the vinyl top off of an Aspen I used to have. I had a blue special edition sedan that was worse rusted than anything that's out here, I think. Yeah. That's all the cars that are out here. At least in one part, in one piece. There's a Granada rear suspension and front suspension off of that blue Aspen sitting here. So I have a part suspension for the Aspen. Luckily, because I had to go here and actually nab one of those upper control arms off one winter, because mine snapped the ball joint while driving it. I floored it over a speed bump, and it pulled the ball out of its socket and landed back down. It had the wheel in a place where it wasn't supposed to be. Like I said, wheels, those are Volvo. Granada, Gia alloys. Yeah, the wheels off of everything out here. Pretty much every single bolt pattern you can ask for. I think there's at least one rim out here that has it. Parts that I've just thrown back out here because I've been nabbing some parts off of it. Those are VW Beetle or 1600 variant or fastback carburetors, twin carb 1600s, suspension for Cortinas, Taunas, Granadas. Yeah, pretty much all of that. My original Escort stuff is out here somewhere in this pile, which I'm gonna need. Cortina doors. Those are useful now that we have a Cortina again. 63 Falcon door. Overhead cam Ford. Is it a 2-liter? I don't know. Well, I can look at it back. Yep, that's a 2-liter. Ford Kent Crossflow. Is it a Crossflow? No, it's a pre-Crossflow Ford Kent engine, which means it's probably an 1100 or 1300. Transmission for one of those, I think. Another one. Ford 170 Thrift Power 6. Transmission for one of the Thrift... No, it's not. It's a Granada V6 transmission, actually. Well, Granada Taunus V6 trans for an old Ford. There's a muffler there and a torque converter. Rear axle, tractor tires, and a ton of other parts. But yeah, this video is raving on. I'm gonna go and see if I can find a usable cam for that 2-liter now. I think the ant's gone. So I've gotten the valve cover off, but I'm thinking that those ridges are a bit too high for my liking. You might even be able to see it if the camera will focus. It is a little bit worn down on the center. You can see right here. Taller here and here. And yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to put this back on and find another one. Alright, so here I am, sweaty and awful. I've been looking through pretty much everything I could find. All the engines. And none of them had a usable cam. 2 of them were worn down, and the 3rd one was just rusted. So I decided to call that a day, and on my way back into the car I remembered there are a few parts I need to get here for myself, for the Escort. Because back when I stripped that thing out for all the parts I didn't need, I threw away the original gas tank, threw away the original engine, and I remembered that I kind of need the valve cover for that engine, because it says 1100 HC on it, and I need the gas tank because, well, I need an original gas tank to register it. And I have mine, so I just need to go find it. And I did. That is the original Escort gas tank. That is the original valve cover. Of course, this gas tank has a little bit of rust. Isn't really looking all that great, but it has the lid on it. It has the lid. It has the outlet. It's underneath there, and the fuel sender is right there. So that I'm going to need to have and fix. This valve cover, I need one that says 1100 HC because I'm going to have to put an 1100 back in it. And I found a camshaft for, I think it's a 2-liter. It is rusted, it is pretty bad, but I rubbed my finger over the lobes and they're not that bad. Worst case scenario, we can use this to measure if there is that much of a difference in between, well, the ones we have. Or I can really slop this thing together and sand it down. We'll see what happens. So that is it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you later in the next video. Take care.